Whispers float in empty halls. Footsteps echo down the walls. Shadows break where secrets lie. Every echo holds a hidden sign. Blow the trace along the crime, a hush that haunts the night, a fear that lives in light. Unravel lines of twisted lies. In the dark, the story waits unseen.
And here we go.
Hi, I'm Rochelle, the Psychic Sleuth. Spirit shows me patterns across past, present, and future. What comes through can be symbolic, metaphoric, or not always literal, though sometimes it is. Messages often carry multiple meanings that weave together through energetic tracking, prophetic sequencing, and blueprint mapping. I know I talk fast sometimes, it's just how spirit flows through me. You can always replay or slow down if you need to. I triple check what I receive with astrology and cards, but this isn't about being 100% right. It's about truth, responsibility, and integrity. I'm the one sitting with spirit on these cases, so this is a space for truth seeking, not debate. Please respect the work. If you can't honor spirit, this may not be the place for you. And before we start, I want to make something clear. My process has evolved for a reason. I don't use sitters anymore. I don't do live channeling on heavy cases, and I won't be performing on command. That's not safe, it's not accurate, and it pulls the work off track. I work the way spirit directs me through mediumship, pattern recognition, astrology validation, cards when needed, and prophetic sequencing. Every layer strengthens the message and protects the integrity of the case. Please don't tell me how to do my job. This isn't about entertainment. It's about truth, responsibility, and helping families. If my style isn't for you, that's okay. But this is how I work, and this is how the work stays accurate. If my work resonates, the best way to help is through community support for Justice's Cadaver Dog Training Fund. It doesn't take huge donations. Even the cost of a coffee adds up when many give. Shop new merch and help Justice on his mission. Links to my shop and donation page are pinned below. Every purchase helps fund the work. Thank you for being here. Now let's get on to today's case. Hey guys, I'm back with an important video for Nancy Guthrie and her possible location. After going through everything, pulling some more cards, which I'll show you in a minute, and kind of realizing that in the beginning, we had kind of we were looking at private property. I was specifically kind of looking at hers. I then got the hit on the attic. It turns out that belonged to somebody else. So I had put that video on private because I didn't want to confuse anything because it was an actual hit. Interestingly enough, it came in the EVP yesterday, and then I ran across the video accidentally of a lady that was found in the attic about 2 weeks ago around the time that Nancy was missing. So sometimes my cases cross like that, especially random hits where they won't necessarily belong to the case I'm working on, but they'll belong to something else. That's why I always suggest maybe watching the video of kind of explaining how I work, because sometimes I just psychically pick up on things and I don't know where they belong. So I do want to throw that out there. So I have been circling this case. I have been searching and stuff, and I feel like I'm always circling Nancy. I feel if I go too far south, if I go too far west, if I go too far anywhere, that I'm leaving her. Like, I don't feel like she's far from her last known location. That's not the way that it comes across. I didn't pull it this time, but every single time I pulled cards, I pulled close to last known location. The astrology seems to pull in really close, and it always seems to pull around the same area or the same direction. But I went in a little bit deeper today, and I looked at back at the 9:30 time frame and back at the 2:30 time frame, and I pulled some more cards, and I went back in my mind about when we were getting the reference to a property. I think I pulled the house card a couple times and private property a couple times, and I wasn't sure if I really understood if that had to do with Nancy's or somebody else's. But now going back to my dream, and I've talked about this in the last reading, and it's bugging me because I keep seeing it. So whenever I see dreams like this that repeat, and I can go back in very clearly and see them in my mind's eye again, they're important. So they're not just a random dream. Whether the rest of the dream surrounding it, I don't remember, but I do remember this specific part. So I feel like it was prophetic in a way, and there was a reason for it. So the only thing that's confusing is I keep getting the water card, and in the dream she was buried. So in the dream, and I just want to go over this again because it's super important and it's been bugging me because I keep seeing it. In the dream, again, I was working on Nancy's case with a hot guy again. Wish he was real. But we were searching for Nancy. And we were over at the river. And all of a sudden I had this vision at the river, and I went to this land that was like, I don't know if it was on the same property, but it was in front of Nancy. Like it was in front of like a house that was like a 2-story white house. Now I'm not saying that the 2-story white house is like this is how it looks, but in my dream that's how it was, and they were overlooking her spot. And that house belonged to family, allegedly. And I just want to say that this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not accusing anybody. This is just off of visions, okay? And I am going to report this because I feel strongly about it after going through everything to law enforcement. And I'm going to do my own investigation and see what I can come up with. But in the dream, that house belonged to family. I don't know who family members it belonged to, but I remember at the end I confronted them, and they started with an A when I confronted them, their name. So anyways, this house that was 2-story white house overlooked this distant like area. I think it was on the property. I'm pretty sure it was on the property or very close. There was a creek that was running kind of behind it, like in the background. So another connection to water. So we're still connecting water. Okay. Everybody had walked by her. Everybody walked past her, searched for her, missed her. So this means, and this is telling me that either it's an area that law enforcement has been by or searched, or people have overlooked, or it's being overlooked in some way. But I'm seeing it clearly because in the dream, there was this mound and it was covered in rocks, like big rocks. And so I took off the rocks, and there was Nancy, and it was very hard for me because it was like a charred thing. So whether they did that or not, or it was just symbolic of trying to erase her in a way, I'm not really sure. But that was the hardest thing because she was all black but I knew it was her. And so I said, we found her, and I confronted the people in the house. That was family. How dare you, blah, blah, blah. So that dream was very vivid, and I think it has something to do, and it's been bugging me because I remember in the beginning we were talking about a property, and I thought maybe it was Nancy's. And then in the beginning I had pulled, again, house and private property cards, and it wasn't clicking. Because when you pull cards, they can talk about the area around it, the area on the way, like, you know what I mean? Like it's trying to help you put the breadcrumbs, so to speak, together. This is still leading in the same corridor that I've originally led in. And I'll tell you in a minute why I still feel that area is significant. And maybe why I find the water is because the water's on private property. So I'm just going to go through the cards and I'm going to tell you what I think. And again, this is all alleged, and I hope that it's correct. And it kind of just clicked today because I was very frustrated. And I went back and I looked at the astrology and I looked at other things, and I was just like, dude, I don't think she's in a public place like we originally thought. I think maybe it's easy to misread astrology. It's easy to misread cards. It's easy to do things when you're just trying so hard to find somebody, when you're really trying your best and you feel like no one else is seeing what you're seeing. Because again, as I've always stated, I feel like the whole Mexico thing is a misdirection. And I feel like it's so that everybody looks in another direction. But I also feel like law enforcement may be playing along with it. They may be putting up this facade to the public and to the perpetrators to make them think like, okay, we believe you, we think she's in Mexico, so that maybe they will show their hand, or they can still follow the breadcrumb trail, the digital trail, which is going to probably lead them in some way. There's going to be a mishap or a mistake that gets these people caught in some way, shape, or form. And I'm hearing a reference to 6 months. So hopefully within the next 6 months, some things can come to light. Now, I'm hoping that they find some things out before Mercury retrograde hits, because that's going to put a little bit of a delay on it. And I know that people want her found now and want things to happen now, but we have to understand that everything unfolds in the time that it's supposed to unfold in. We don't have control over that. It's written in the stars before we're ever born, before things ever happen. So she will be found how and when and if she's meant to be found. And it's going to have to be law enforcement at this point, from what I'm seeing. And that doesn't mean that I can't look into properties, that you can't look into properties, that we can't tip those in. And I am going to tip this in because I feel pretty strongly about it, because it keeps pulling up private. And I just had to take a deeper look. And sometimes I have to go outside of things and come back in and take a break, and kind of, my mind is always going. So I'm always connecting dots in my head. Like, I don't think you guys understand what goes in my mind on a daily basis when I'm working a case. Like, it's constantly, and usually what's weird about this case too is usually if someone's on a property, I'll get it. That's been something that's usually been very clear to me. This one, it hasn't been that clear, and I think it's just because there's so much misdirection in the case, and the cards were a little confusing, as well as the astrology. And it's been kind of a whirlwind, I think, for everybody. And it's easy to get led astray. It's easy to question and second guess, and it's easy to not be able to, kind of put things together. So I'm constantly re-seeing the cards in my head. Spirit will show me certain cards that seem to be significant or important. They'll give me ideas. Like, it's constantly, my mind is constantly going on and about the case. Okay. All right. So, and I do feel, and I always pull the pack card and I always pull the couple card. So that tells me, now that I'm going back on it, and now that I think about it, that the couple card, I think it has to do with a couple that are family related, and the pack card has to do with at least 3 other people involved besides that. I do have a EVP thing that I want to put out that I got to go through that seem to be mentioning some interesting things, but I'm hearing family affair. Sorry, allegedly. That's what I'm hearing. So between acquaintances, family, friends, things like that, it seemed to be, it wasn't planned per se. Like, somebody lost like we've talked about, he lost his head, but that doesn't mean there wasn't a plan to take advantage of Nancy the whole time. Okay. Family can be diabolical when money's involved and when somebody's older. Just throwing that out there. Okay. So I'm going to go over the cards now. If I get any hits, I'll let you know what they are. Okay, so we have body in a vehicle. So she was moved in a vehicle, and I've already discussed this in prior readings. If you have any questions about my prior readings, they're out there. Go watch them, pay attention to them. I've gone over what I feel happened numerous times, and I don't want to go over it again. So body in a vehicle, she was moved, and then right after that we get in water. Okay, so the water is very prevalent. We are looking for water, but the thing that's been confusing me the most is Arizona doesn't have a lot of water. There's only specific areas that seem to hold more water. Okay, but that doesn't mean that we're not talking about water still. And this is where it kind of like hit me today. So, but interestingly enough, so we have body in the vehicle, so she was moved. Then water and graveyard. So basically she's in a water graveyard. Okay, that's the way I'm putting these two together. Graveyard also means like it's tied to burial sites marked or unmarked, and a location near or within water. Energy may be obscured below the surface of a pond, stream, or even any sort of water feature. Okay, and there's going to be a shed in relation on this property because I always pull this card. So we're looking for a shed on the property as well. Trust the energy near foundations, corners of where tools were once stored. So again, if she's in water, she's obviously not in a shed, but there's going to be a shed on the property, and there might even be some junk or some old cars or some things like that because I'm pulling the junkyard. There might be a little bit of, a zone that can conceal clues, especially in rural or hidden areas. Okay. So we have the church card and we always seem to pull it. This area might be connected to a church, or this could be significant to just the church kind of being a thing. If you guys saw my last reading, I kind of feel like Nancy was maybe going to give some money to the church that maybe certain people didn't agree with. But church grounds may hold layered meaning, sites of worship, refuge, or ritual concealment. So this could just be, in the area. Okay. Fork in the road, a choice that was made. I always get this card with her, and it can be symbolic and it can be literal. There might literally be a fork in the road, or it might be more energetic, like where a choice was made and there was a divergence or physical split in the road. It may hold clues. And so again, this might be, I always feel like this, like there's misdirection in this case. Okay, so Nancy's one way and they're looking the other way, and I don't know if they're fully looking the other way. It might seem like that, but or they're trying to make people look in another direction instead of like, hey, look over here, like the whole Gemini thing, like, hey, misdirection, look over here. Well, she's actually over here. Do you know what I mean? So it could also be, again, symbolic or literal. Off the beaten path. So off the beaten path is usually, it can be a place that may feel isolated, and it can also be like hidden in plain sight or far from routine paths, and there could be like an abandoned road, a private road, something like that. So off the beaten path, an area that's kind of more private, that's basically off the beaten path, an old trail, something like that. Okay, then we have multiple locations. So the multiple location is, so the remains or evidence can be scattered across more than one location, intentionally divided. And this can be, again, there can be, she may have been moved one time when police maybe got too close. So she could have been put in one area and then moved and then fixed. Or it could be that there's evidence in one location and she's in another. I always get the multiple location cards. It could also be multiple perpetrators in multiple locations. So one perpetrator lives here, one perpetrator lives there. So I kind of get that with that. So this is the part that's really interesting. So we have a field, farmland, and house. So I'm taking this as a house on it, going with my dream that I had, that I feel is very significant. Okay. Going with my dream, the house, the field, and the farmland. So this was going to be a private space with a home, and possibly fields or farmland, or like acreage of some sort. Okay. It can also be surrounded by fields or farmland, but it feels remote. So it's going to be a house with some sort of acreage, possibly farmland. Okay. Deep burial. So she's deep, which deeper than surface level. Okay, which is going to make sense in a moment. She's basically concealed with care. This may signal planning, control, or desire to delay discovery or bury the truth completely. Okay, this is remote. This is going to be a remote area. Again, I always pull this card. Interesting, there's a river in it. These are my cards, by the way. They are available if anybody would like them. So these are hard to reach, isolated areas. They may delay discovery or represent purposeful concealment. Often overlooked, they demand focused attention and deeper exploration. So it's just somewhere that seems, remote, kind of out there. There may be there may be a path or trail. Also, we got woods. The EVP said woods, so there might be some trees for Arizona, you can like a glop of trees in an area or surrounded by trees, whatever. So we have to keep that in mind as well. I didn't pull the woods this time, but I have before, and Spirit has said so. So these are, again, rule zones, often mark areas of passage that may indicate where a victim travel was led, or remains clues may lie beyond the obvious. So again, this is another kind of remote card. And back roads, like there must be back roads to this property, because I always get this card as well. I don't get and I always tell you guys that my areas will always evolve. So usually, sometimes I've gotten areas right away. It happens. Every case is different depending on how many layers you have to pull and how clear things are. So my areas can always evolve. I can say one thing and then I can dig a little bit deeper and then go, have like a clarity moment and go another direction. So that's what I need you to understand about this. So the back roads is something I always get as well. So there must be back roads. Again, this is another isolated card. So less traveled back roads indicate areas where someone was taken, evidence was discarded, or where final act away from witnesses connected to rural properties. or hidden clearing. So I didn't read that before, but I always get that card. And so again, rule properties, we literally got the rule. We've got like four remote cards, rule cards. So the industrial area, again, I pulled this again, but we have the Aquarius stellium, so there might be, again, industrial area around it. It can also be, there's the industrial area is west, but it's pointing to that it might be surrounded by an industrial area or be close to an industrial area, close to railroad track, like not far from railroad tracks, because railroad tracks always seems to come up. So you might be able to see the smoke from the industrial area, okay, on this area. Also, I feel like it's kind of high up, mountains. I always get the mountains card, so it might be kind of high desert type of area, just a little bit higher than flat. And I got the mountain card again, but I've pulled that several times the last time. So we're looking for, you know, I keep seeing smoke in the distance now as I'm talking to you guys. So there could be smoke in the distance. Look at the EMF spiking. So we have, again, Crossroads is another card I always get. I'm pulling the same cards basically with a little bit more emphasis. So this is pivotal moment in the case where paths diverged, decision was made, or a victim was last seen, symbolizes thresholds between life and death. Can also symbolize an anchor point. So there can be actual crossroads, you know, a path split, but also this can be a pivotal moment in the case. Okay. Or, you know, also, again, the decision was made. So opposite direction. So opposite direction means that the remains or clue may be in the opposite direction of where everybody is looking. And I've already talked about this, like looking over here, but we're over here. So no one is looking when the focus is strong on one of the truth may be hidden in its opposite, behind, beneath, or reverse. So again, opposite direction where everybody is looking. This is saying, hey, everybody's looking in Mexico. Everybody's looking in a public place. Everybody's looking here, here, here. All right. But really, she's somewhere else. Okay. And again, we go back to what I told you guys, how I felt near a certain person's house and how I had a stroke feeling. I've always wondered if at some point she was taken there. I saw that they have a pool. I don't know if that's the pool house or it's the pool house with Nancy's allegedly, but I did have a headache before I entered that road, and I did have a stroke feeling to the back of it. There's something that I haven't been able to let go in the area. I just am not sure what it is. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it just holds the energy if they took her there first. I'm not really sure. I can't let go of that area, but there's no pond and no like open wide spaces, not remote. So it doesn't really fit, but she might've been there to begin with. Maybe, I'm not sure. So now when I was shuffling and I said, okay, but what is she at on this property? Like, what is she in on this property? Because we keep pulling water cards, and I pulled the pond card. So I think it could be that she could be submerged in a private pond on a private property, or at least some sort of water feature of some sort. We have the ducks, the waterfowl that I always get, and the birds. So it makes me wonder if, you know, seasonal ducks may go there, but I'm just wondering. Or some sort of drainage connected to a pond, some kind of water feature on a private property. It doesn't have to be huge, but, you know, deep enough or whatever. Then we have marsh wetlands. So again, marsh ponds have marshy areas around them. It could just be soft overgrown areas, and it's just signs of natural concealment. You know, the ducks, I keep getting the ducks, and ducks for me can sometimes mean pond. And since there's not a lot of marshy areas, you know, and if there's not someone connected to the farmland, remote areas over there involved, not sure, or at least around that area because of the industrial, maybe on the other side of the railroad tracks. Okay. So then we have a golf course. So there might be a golf course nearby, or a golf course connected in some sort. So this could mean, you know, it could just be a landmark or close by. Okay. Because this is the third time I pulled the golf course, so it has to be important in some way. Also, the liminal zone and boundaries. This is threshold spaces, edges of woods, county, state lines, fences, or roads where energy shift and oversight weakens. So again, this can be like a property line, a fenced property. It can also be, you know, another little suburb, another little county, like that kind of thing too. So a liminal zone, I always get that card as well. So I always seem to get the same cards. So we have burial, which it was a burial in my dream, but we literally we've had burial and water in previous cards. So burial and then mountains, like I said, kind of like higher up. It's not completely flat. Like I'm considered mountains, and actually Tucson is higher up. So that area itself is, but it might just be a little bit, higher in the mountains. Power supply is another one that we constantly get. So this can be that there's power supply nearby of some sort. It's very Aquarius energy, but tunnel. There could be a school that you pass on the way nearby, connected in some way. Also, I feel like this kind of connects to the alleged perpetrator. Again, the crossroads again. We just pulled that card with my other deck. So I find that interesting. So I already explained the crossroad. And then we have private property. Again. And we have, again, wooded areas. So there might be some, some sparse woods, trees, whatever like that. Road. Off a road. Water, again. Underground. So basically water underground. So, it can be some sort of drainage coming off of, or something, some kind of water feature on someone's property. I mean, it could be as far as like a well or whatever, but I just think it's interesting that I pulled the pond and I get the ducks. When I literally asked, like, what kind of, I just wanted to add something in here because I think I don't know. So I'm trying to, connect the dots as I'm sitting here watching and listening to the reading as I edit it. So, I think really quick, I want to add in that my west pool and southwest pool can also be directed at different perpetrators, different locations that could have been involved as well. The stronger energy is what's going to stick out. The other thing that I recognize in maybe possibly getting the water in the burial, she could be literally buried by like irrigation or some type of water thing. So, we're talking about, I saw her buried and then we were getting water and pipes and tunnels and things like that. So maybe she could be buried by like an irrigation channel. I don't know. That's kind of like how I'm kind of putting it together, I guess. Feature on a property. So hollow earth. And then I always get the rope card. And this makes me feel like, again, this could be the tape. Like she's wrapped up tight. Rope tape, something like that. Hidden. And boat, I just connect this one to water. It could also mean something like traveling, like what do you, and I pulled a few more cards. So we have, again, arson, and I told you how I saw her, you guys, but that could also be burning of evidence, but I know I saw her that way. So inside underwater, again, bones. Okay, kind of speak for themselves. And then fire again. So something was burned, charred, whatever. In my dream, it was her, but it could, I hope not. And interestingly enough, I know Tracy was saying that there's a tie to University of Arizona. We both felt there was. So this could be actually somebody that they know through there. As well, or a friend from there. I want to literally, this is what's happening right now. Listening to my video talking about University of Arizona. My REM pod's dead, so it's screaming. I've tried new batteries. I'm out right now, but it's screaming. And look at the EMF. I'm at the part of my video where I'm listening to, and I'm recording this on my regular camera, but talking about a connection to University of Arizona. And now this thing is going wild. And I tried to change the, I don't know, I might have mixed up my batteries or something, I'm not sure. I'll get new batteries tomorrow. Until then, I think they're kind of out of luck. That was wild. Okay, it just started screeching like that because it does that when it's low, and then the EMF starts spiking. Try to find my other location cards real quick. And so we have outside, frozen, power supply again, road again, in nature again, water again, trapped. So she's trapped in water. Fire. So again, I don't know if they burned evidence or what. Home, neighborhood. There's a connection to someone's work. I keep getting that. I don't know. I don't understand that card, but connection to someone's work. Water again. Boat is connected to water. Beach is sort of connected to a sandy area by it. So like, oh, again, mountains again. So high up, mountainous. She tried to run away and was trapped. So this is what, like, I feel there was also like I explained before, like she fell. Like when there was an altercation, that's where the blood drops. It's not like a bunch of blood. It's like drops, right? Something that can get hit in the face or hit, like your nose bleeds, like that kind of thing. And then it followed inside. This is where there was kind of like a struggle, but I do feel like there was a fall. And that also came in the last reading as well. And then there was like to kind of finish it, but yeah, there's a fall. So she tried to like get away and was trapped. Again, mountains again. We got burned cards back to back, so it doesn't really make sense to burn her body and then put her somewhere that's connected to someone. But it could be, again, I don't really know, unless it's like DNA evidence or what that is. Not really sure. So then we have wooded area. So again, trees. There's got to be some sort of trees, or it's like kind of remote where there's like trees around. Secret. It's a secret place in the desert. Moved there by a vehicle. Outer space. So out here we see the stars very well. So out here we see the stars clearly because we don't have a lot of light, and it's like that for a reason. So also, this could just mean someplace high up. It could be a place connected to stars, or just that you can see the sky in the way that you can see outer space really nice. So usually more remote places, higher up places, things like that, in water tunnel. So that's what's confusing me a little bit with the drainage, unless there's some sort of drainage on the property connected to pond. I'm not really sure, honestly. I mean, it could be like some sort of like, I don't know, tunnel connects to the pond, that like an irrigation thing maybe. I don't really understand that, but basically, I mean, it's some sort of water infrastructure that could connect to a pond and a tunnel of some sort. That's the only way I can, and drainage, because the drainage is always there. Okay, so I'm just going to go over a little bit with you of the astrology and why I feel like it connects this way. So this part, again, took me a while to understand. The cards don't point to a park. They point to random, so this part took me a while to understand. The charts don't point to a park. They don't point to a random ditch on the side of the road. They point to private land, someone's property. The fourth house, which rules the home and land, is heavily involved. Fixed signs like Scorpio and Aquarius say this location is permanent, unchanging, and hidden. And the water isn't a lake you'd go fishing in. It's infrastructure. A pond on a private land, a drainage pipe, a cistern, a well, something man-made that holds water. The charts also show multiple people involved, not just one. The seventh house and the third house and the Gemini energy all point to partnerships, accomplices, and a network of people connected to this. So the property may not belong to the son-in-law directly, but to someone connected to him, a friend, a relative, or someone with land near that corridor. So if you're trying to understand where the astrology is pointing, here's what you're looking for. A private property within 6 to 10 miles of her last known location, could even span a little bit farther, west to southwest of there, near industrial tracks, quarry infrastructure, with some kind of water feature, a pond, pipe, drainage, well, possibly near a school, other landmark like a church, and connected to someone in the family circle. This isn't really a guess. It's just what I've kind of put together between the charts, the cards, my mind, my brain. And so I'm not here to tell law enforcement how to do their job, but I am here to share what the astrology says, what the cards say, what I'm feeling. And it's been consistent back and forth, kind of just detangling everything and putting it together. And while I wasn't sure about the private property at first because of the drainage part of it, I feel like I'm going back to the beginning, which sometimes I have to do because let's be honest, it's easy to get pulled off track. It's easy to get pulled in different directions. And it's like sometimes the timing with things, clarity hits. So like I always tell people, things might not be clear in the beginning, and it might take deduction, it might take time, it might take going over things and over them. This is why I try to tell people cases aren't just wham bam, I got it. Sometimes they can be faster. Sometimes they're not so involved and tangled up. When you have multiple people involved, multiple free will involved, it's a little bit harder to find who you're looking for because you're following separate energies, different free wills. I've noticed that it's a lot easier for me to locate someone that has gone missing of their own free will or had an accident versus someone that has someone else's free will is involved. There's a difference there. And I don't know if that has something to do with the fact that you're now following another person's actions, and if sometimes you can be blocked off from that. And in this case, we're following multiple people's actions. So there's a huge cover-up and misdirection in this case, and I think that's the biggest thing and the biggest fog that people have to go through and work through. So, well, I don't think she's in a house alive anywhere, because as I've said, that's not what I'm saying here, and the kidnapping never happened. So the kidnapping is the biggest thing that I'm trying to throw out there, is that the kidnapping has to do with just the misdirection and hey, everybody look over here, and hey, we need to cover this up, we need to come up with something. There's multiple people involved that have different aspects in the story. Some people can offer one thing and then another, because in the end they'll get a piece of whatever. So they're being protected in the same time. 333 right now. So again, she was never taken out of that house alive. This was just something that happened very and impulsively with anger. That could even be some of the fire. And then they had to round up people to help cover it up. And they wanted to make it look like Mexico and cartel because of who her daughter is, who's Savannah. Look at that. My camera disconnected and came back on. Interesting. How she was a whistleblower and who she was. So how else are you going to get people not to know what really happened, but to look another direction? Again, the video was manipulated. It was manipulated in some way. They might have kept some original footage. Like I said, I think that there was literally somebody else there. I can't help it. The ring and the image side by side, the lip on Jay is too similar, and the fact that he said that he saw a premonition and who was involved straight up matter of factly is very interesting to me. So I hope that the police at least talk to him, but regardless, it was made to look like something that it is not. So I hope eventually that if law enforcement is just following this facade and playing along, that would be awesome. Because I know that they said that they've cleared people, but that honestly doesn't matter, because they can tell you guys anything they want to tell you. They want the perpetrators to become comfortable to go about their daily lives so that they can watch them and track them and see what's really going on. So they can be sneaky in that way. Just keep that in mind. You're not being told everything. You're being told what they want you to see. And I feel like it feels like they're going along with some of this. I'm not really sure that they believe it. So I just realized something. So I keep pulling the east card, but I've never really even pulled really east, like way far east. But yesterday when I was on here and you guys were seeing me doing the mapping, I had the EVP on, and the EVP said east, and it said trust us, because but I'm not really feeling completely pulled that way. I feel west and down, but maybe I'm making a whole circle. And then right now the REM pod's going off. And so I've been here sitting with it. And so I asked somebody for a couple addresses. A couple of those addresses are east. Looked at the addresses. They match what I'm looking for. Not necessarily a bond, but there is water features. Hear the REM pod? It's been quiet all day until right now when I just realized that. So I did turn in west to southwest to law enforcement, but I think we're looking a little bit east because I keep pulling that stupid east card and I don't take it, and I've got to quit doing that to myself. Because literally yesterday the spirits were like, you got to listen. And there's a quarry not far from there. And a church and a school. Oh my God. Now the REM pod's going nuts. Okay. Yep. The east has been bugging me for like since yesterday because I haven't really been pulled that direction. I've been pulled south a little bit, but this property has literally everything. Railroad tracks running through it, quarry in the way, church surrounded by church, school, farming. I'm like about to have a freaking heart attack. And they're, I think, connected to Nancy. So thank you to who said I needed to see it. And I think I should tip in that specific address, which they should already know. I feel like these people are in their sights for some reason, but now the REM pod won't stop. Oh my gosh. Every time I try to show you guys with the share screen, it won't show you. But dude, as soon as I pulled up this freaking location, the REM pod just started going off and everything kind of clicked together because of the whole east, trust us. Oh my God, I'm freaking out right now. Okay. So I think I need to send an extra tip with this specific location again, but I don't even know. Now I'm hot. It's the temperature change on that, but the timing of it was right. Now I've got the chills. Was right when I freaking hit that spot. So it's more of a validation else. Oh my God. What the actual hell is going on? This is Rochelle, why you need to listen when you pull certain cards. I kept pulling it like 4 times and I was like, I don't get it. Even on the EVP, they were telling me. Oh my gosh. I'm adding this into the video, but I want you to see this because this is wild. I didn't know this address exists, but something made me ask this person today because I was just like, dude, I'm looking for connections because of my dream. Connections to the family because of my dream. And now my head is feeling like it's going to explode because I'm overheated. And that's the temperature part of my oh my freaking goodness. Oh my freaking goodness. Oh my God. You guys, I just realized something too. I was at the river yesterday, like in my dream, and I had clarity today. And I found myself at this location today with the creek behind it. So there is like a creek or drainage or something on this property. I don't really see a pond. So she's either buried or in some sort of water, something related to water because we got the water stuff. There might be a basement involved as well or someplace down low, again, dark down. So that's what's confusing because there's so much water in the chart and so much water in the cards. I don't understand it because my dream was burial. So that's what's really weird to me, but it could be both. I'm not really sure at this point, but that needs to be searched. Just saying. So unless I get a specific hit or something else, I don't know that I'm going to be doing much else on this. I always go where I'm called. I always go where I'm led, but I have to also take care of my own personal things. This takes a lot of time, hours, and, you know, I have to get back to taking care of my personal things through personal readings and lives and things like that. So hopefully you will support me in that. And, you know, I'm sure that there's also another case that I probably need to look at as well. Because there comes a point where I can't do anymore. It's not like, you know, so I try to tell people, just because you're psychic doesn't mean you're going to be the one to find them, doesn't mean you're going to go to the body. It doesn't work like that. If you're meant to, you'll be led to it. I had that dream for a reason, and that dream was very vivid. And actually, it didn't even come to me until later that I had clarity on it, and I was like, wait, I had a dream, and this is what it is. And now I can see it so vividly that it's kind of similar to one of my GPS dreams. Other than it didn't include water, but it included uncovering something that was buried on personal private property overlooked by family. That's basically how I took the dream, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. So we'll see. I appreciate you guys. Please like, subscribe, and again, thank you for being a part of the channel.